Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. Okay, today I would like to present. Actually, this is my previous work, but it happened that I'm learning something new. It's about graph analysis. So I'm the type of person like to measure things. So last time I'm using what we call it the classical text theory by using exploratory analysis and confirmatory analysis. But I will tell you this. So my topic is about psychometric assessment of spiritual intelligence for school using instrument. It is an instrument. Okay. Specifically tailored for school use English, especially for Muslims. Okay. Using graph analysis. Okay. Actually, from the recent literature, you can see that this spiritual is still relevant. So many teachers on systemic literature review, bibliometric review, and so on. Okay, so I think spiritual this topic is still relevant for now. Okay, it's still relevant for, especially in this challenging area for leadership, okay, especially in schools. Okay. So you can see that actually is a vital for effective and developing school leadership. Okay, and actually you can shape values and also empathy and also make the leaders to make wise decision making. So by measuring spiritual intelligence, it will help to improve leadership training, especially in IAB, perhaps in YD and school, and it will develop a positive school culture. So, why spiritual intelligence SU really matters to us? Actually, it can build the trust, compassion, and most importantly, the moral integrity of school leaders. Okay? By having the disposition of spiritual intelligence, it will encourage continuous self-improvement for the school leaders. Okay? And also, the school leaders would make an ethical decision making. Okay? It's more that consistency, okay, would help to identify and also nurture these qualities, especially in IB and school leadership. Okay? And most importantly, it supports our latest mind framework. Okay? And I have three purposes to study. Firstly, to test the validity and the reliability of this instrument using graph analysis. Secondly, despite of these psychometric properties, I would like to observe the hierarchical structure of the items. Okay, why the school leaders choose the items. Okay, when we see after this. And lastly, after we found both objective, it could strengthen the psychometric foundation for this instrument. Okay, especially in spiritual intelligence and also leadership research. Okay. So actually this instrument consists of 52 items. Okay. I have three main dimensions. Firstly is spiritual awareness, morality, responsibility, and lastly continuous learning. And it was developed through expert validation via what we call it content validation ratio. Okay, it is a quantitative content validation procedure. We have about like 59 items, and after the second phase, we are going through the refinement using exploratory factor analysis. It became 35 items, and lastly, I would like to confirm the factor structure of the instrument, and it became only 28 reliable items. Okay, this is the framework. Okay, the initial framework I have is actually this one. Okay, 4 dimensions, and each one, if you can see from the dimension, actually it is concomitant with the Madani framework. Okay, but it happened that after the procedure, actually morality is responsibility like have a really great area of differences, but I try to from the literature. Okay, I like to make the distinction. Okay? However, after the EFA, it happened that the construct of truthfulness and forgiveness is not appear. You know why? Why schooling is not truthful enough, and why schooling is not forgiveness enough? But it makes sense because people like to like our new that I said. People have to seek it under the carpet. Okay? Why? Maybe the truthfulness is not appeared. And lastly, it is not easy to forgive. It's easy to forgive. It's easy to forgive, but not easy to forget. Might be. Okay? And lastly, my own assumption, my expert assumption, so I collapse this morality and responsibility into one dimension, moral responsibility, as I saw from Prof. Tengku presentation. Interesting, really like John, you know, have something relation to my presentation. So we have three sub-construct question, justice and integrity, and lastly continuous learning. Actually, when you see these three dimension, actually is really related to Islamic teachings. Okay, it's iman, Islam and amal. Okay. Okay, actually what is right analysis is a bit technical. You know, it's the type of analysis. Okay. Like EFA, we use SPSS. Like CFA, using AMOS, or usually, but right analysis we are using the software called WinStats. Okay. It actually one parameter linguistic model, right? Because we have other models also, 2 parameter and 3 parameter. But for now, first using a 1 parameter and focuses on measurement precision, which is in terms of item fit. Okay, and unidimensionality. Unidimensionality is really important. Okay, for someone who taking PhD, you are, I think you are compulsory to do EFA. I've heard from my friends, and they are not presenting it, just presenting the combat of they need to supply the ready for the unidimensional evidences. So I keep it fast. Okay. The key finding is Sicily have item fit well under rush assumption, except for 3 items. They have good reliability, and the dimension is confirmed. And okay, next is about, okay, this is the main result. Okay, where you can see the spiritual awareness is placed on the bottom of the item map. Secondly, continuous learning, and thirdly, moral responsibility. Now, when I did this rush analysis, I can see why the morality and responsibility items are jumbled up. Okay, that's why it is one construct. Okay, next. So, in conclusion, analysis, technical psychometric, probably improvement, and perhaps one week in IABCGH and to assess leaders and executives and investigation and I am my support. Experience from the and the knowledge and habits as it are related and when any questions to ask? Anything? Yeah, sir.
I'm Sabto from Indonesia. What is the benefit to use the rush price system compared to other?
Okay, rush analysis, rush model, what we have there. In here, they only show this factor structure, okay? Which item is more value reliable, but we got only from 59 items have been reduced to 28. So many, right? Half of it have been cut off, have been discarded. But the large analysis only 3 items is excluded. That's the advantage. But we can say that each of these measurement paradigm has its own. We can say it depends on how we view it. Next,
Right, so we invite next our presenter, TS Dr. Siva Ravicharan.
Okay, good morning to everyone. Okay, I am Siva from College Vocational Civil. This is my topic. My topic is about implementation of the continuous assessment for real-time project, finally project in vocational education. Okay, this one I want to highlight about the real-time project. Usually, we can see research projects. Usually, what we do to do research, when we go to vocational college, we focusing on real-time project. Or we call it project nyata. It's not project kajian. There's a difference. Usually what we'll do, research project. We got some difference. Then real time. Okay. Especially for in vocational, in college education, they should take this family project. Okay, and student you got this related okay, what we encourage our students to develop real-time final year project. We encourage, but usually they also have research project where what we do for technology, technical students, we ask them to do real-time final year project. We call it project. Okay, what is this? It is all about application, system, device, tools, jigs to help the students to solve their problem in workshops. Okay, students will develop appropriate and up-to-date techniques that it must meet the industry needs. Because vocational students they comply with the industry needs. Okay, then in our system we have our own guideline. We call it GPPA, that is Control Project Communicate. So in way, but we call it GPPA. So in this one, how we delegate the implementation of the final project. Okay, usually the key person is final year project supervisor. What we do? Okay, he will assess the student. He gives the assessment for the student in semester 3 and semester 4. Okay, this one there is some literature. I think I want to share that because I think you don't even time. Just okay. Okay. Okay, just okay. Continuous assessment. Okay, it need to be verified. Okay, then it should be able to assess the student. We can use it to assess the student, and then it should be very appropriate and effective. Okay, this is the key point. Okay, my research objective: identify the appropriateness of the continuous assessment in the real-time final year project. And second, explore the effectiveness of continuous assessment in real-time final year project. This is my questions. Okay, this is my research framework. So I first my presentation. Okay, this is the research methodology. Okay, it's a combination of quantitative and qualitative methods. Okay, I use all final year project supervisors all in my college. There are 42 of them in quantitative research. And for qualitative, carry out via semi-structured questions to 5 respondents. Okay, so how I analyze quantitative data using descriptive analysis and qualitative data thematic analysis. It's very simple. It's not technical, but straight to the point. Okay, this is my results, demographic. I really shocked. There are 21 male lecturers and 21 female lecturers. Okay, this is the category of the age. Okay, so they answer these questions, and what the result I get? Okay, the average of each item is above 4. So average is 4.34. So according to pattern 2011. Okay, the findings of the studies are in very high level. So for me, continuous assessment is we must use in assessing the students. Okay. Okay, this one for second research question, what is the effectiveness? Okay, this is some of questions that I asked to the final year project supervisors. Okay, just I share some questions. Okay, this is from the first respondent. What I don't know what he or she, okay, because we can't tell who's the respondent. Okay, so from my perspective, by continuous, I can spot a student who are struggling with their project development. Allow me to follow up with my students. So they are using the continuous assessment. They can follow up the students, so they can assess them. Okay, then another question. Okay, it prevents problem at the end of semester. I can fix the problem in early stage. Using the continuous assessment, they can detect what's happening because it's 2 semesters, semester 3 and semester 4. Okay. Conclusion, all respondents shows the positive reaction and state that the continuous assessment in real-time project is very effective in assessing students. The continuous assessment is suitable as tools to supervise and follow up the students in developing the real-time final year projects. Okay, thus the finding shows that continuous assessment helps in developing the real-time final year project according to the timeline. We have our own timeline and submit it on time. Cannot delay because it's fixed already. Semester 3 and semester 4. Okay, discussion and conclusion. Okay, continuous assessment encourages holistic and reliable evaluation that helps students to manage projects effectively on time, given and reasonable pressure associated with the deadline. Okay, it allows students to recognize and fix their mistake earlier, not in last minute. Usually, our students what they do or last minute. You know, they will do all the works last minute. So, by using this continuous assessment, we can detect in early stage. Okay, this is aligned with the finding of ICELAM that continuous assessment has positive impact and helps students in executing their final year projects. Okay, supervisor able to help monitor back students through continuous assessment. This one according to Maran, EDL. Okay, which align with this research. Continuous assessment able to strengthen the quality of vocational education and ensuring the students' ability and capability. Students also able to develop their technical and soft skills. This is very important. Okay, then recently in literature there are another skills, what we call it life skills. Okay, we can go through because there are technical skills, we call it hard skills, soft skills, and life skills. Very simple life skills. They should go to class early, they cannot delay to the class, obedient, follow the instruction. These are all life skills. Okay. Okay, done. Thank you.
Okay, we open the floor for questions.
You did this survey among your lecturers, right?
Yes.
But the conclusion, the discussion seems towards the
Students. Because I want to see the students, what the lecturer's intention about the students.
So you don't have feedback from the students?
No. These are not the students. These are the lecturers. I want to get what they expected because they will supervise the student from semester 3 and semester 4. So they have a lot of students. So they know what's happening, what's going on. This means
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Siva. Okay, our next presenter is Mr. Muhammad Ashraf Abdullah.
oh, sorry.
Please don't bring the mic over.
She observed you.
Good morning. My name is Muhammad Ashraf Abdullah from Sekolah Kebangsaan Bandar Sungai Buloh. I teach primary school. I just joined the government sector only 2 years. For this, I teach at college. So I used to work with adults. Then I went to the government school and I got standard 1. So it's going to be a massive problem for me. So I had a lot of miscommunication with them. That's why I do this small ticket feedback because I do not know what the children want. I always yell at them. For the first 3 months, I always yell. I might got blood all over, and then I take a deep breath and I think myself, I need to do something. Okay, so this is the least I can do. So my lesson is about value-based approach. So I just understand what the student needs. It's just simple. How the students react to my lesson and how they interpret it. So my aim is my classmates and boost people's engagement using very-based certificates. People are really initially reluctant to be honest because these kids, they are very honest. You know, in Malay they say, teacher boleh what? Kenapa kena belajar? Why should I learn this? Because at home they have been exposed to a lot of things from the internet more than the school. So they say that this is boring for them. So I need to have the proper feedback. So that's why I introduce certificates already. We're learning and values question and embedding more values. So I just instill some of the values. Standard academy and academy. So proper statement my cognitive asset is adding relation pool because we have thousand parts and we have limited we have itself 40 to 45 minutes. So we make what we call the Western culture allows you to go anything on the emotion side. We cannot time that. We see this straightforward question, answer, yes or no. Begin with A, B,
represent A, B, C, like that. So people sometimes to give honest feedbacks. Fractions of the time, coefficient, ideally, okay, half, yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
That is the answer that usually primary schools all around Malaysia give. Yes or no. But we as a teacher, we actually do not know whether they are learning or not. Maybe when we work with adults, yes, we have feedback, we have what we call like post-mortem class, whatsoever. But these children, they are very naive. They only know what is fun. So when there's no fun in that, they didn't give any response. So value-based SDK aim to build honesty, responsibility, and reflection for holistic growth. Okay, so my research objective to examine the effectiveness of value-based SDK in improving pupils' participation, confidence, and self-reflection. So by using this kind of method, my students simply boost a little bit of their confidence in terms of answering things. Because you know, when they feel comfortable, the mental side of it, the mental health side issue of it, they feel they are safe to answer. Because usually they are afraid they're going to be scolded, they're going to be punished. Because right now, I give them option. Okay, you do not understand what part or which part that you do not understand. You write it down. Okay, later I will show them my detail. Okay, so this part, example in this picture, I just use simple method. The yellow and pink mother part. So yellow represent yes, understand. Pink represent do not understand. Because I didn't have time to them to fill out the forms. So I give them all this card and people are going to come. Okay, so in this part, I teach about solar system. So when they didn't understand, didn't know about the what we call the spelling of the planet, they answered yes. Yellow, they did yes. Pink, they didn't know. So that's simple as that. So it can be applied to any level of students and level of learners. But maybe if for adults can be more a bit complicated. Okay. Then we have teachers identify the gaps and plan targeted teaching aligned with national education philosophy. Okay. KPM have provided actually quite similar to my research. It is called traffic light, and then the one is called intermediate. So the light is quite similar to this. They have been scattered all on the school and government in Malaysia. We have one in classroom, the Baki is where we put students. Students understand the text, they write it and they put it in the reading. But my research is quite straightforward. Just yes and understand. Okay. So this is my logical framework based on chemistry and Mctaggart 1988. Fraction, planning, action, observation. So research methodology. So it is what the same with everyone. Okay. And then so this is the result. As you can see, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, I just did it in 4 weeks. The participation rate in terms of students in my class is rising. Maybe it looks like fabricated. It looks like fabricated, but yes, when the students get comfortable, the nature of human, they get participate in my classroom a bit more than the previous one. So, then student confidence levels before and after. This is where I ask each of them. So most of them, when they are achieved, they have more confidence of that. Okay. And so this is the distribution of values, which is in the class. So honesty, responsibility, respect, and cooperation. This one I need to explain to them first, because these are 9 years old kids. They are difficult to understanding this kind of values. So I need to explain to them one by one, and then they can give me response. Okay, so 40% say yes, they are being honest about the answer, and their responsibility yes, they actually know why you need to answer the question. Then in fact, yes, by giving me as a teacher, they expect me to answer it.
and cooperation by participating in the classroom. So, structure of the research is executing on this feedback and encourage people to take time of their learning. So this is more like giving them the power to control their learning. Because we usually we say what everything. So fast forward, this is the also start execute how learning. Okay, so this is take two. Okay, open the book questions.
Things that makes us.
Okay, for example, doing one topic, for example, the food. So I created one set of questions. So I instead on the menu, the question itself. So when the student can achieve answer that, that is the result of the student understanding. Does that clear you? Okay. Any other questions?
In that,
Yes.
in that, the time frame is within 4 weeks.
Yes.
Where was it for 4 weeks? Yes, middle of the year. So there will be,
Okay, for section research, it's not like full research. Okay, yes, the short term. Okay, it doesn't any further in the beginning or the end of the year. Just you can base on the topics.
I guess, okay. We start the research at the beginning. How they are really so when it is
I think in the middle, because in the beginning they are not very familiar with me because they have changed class. Okay, we do that. Okay, so in the middle of the year. So that's it.
Right. There's no questions. Thank you very much. Give a round of applause. Musa may ask me this here. We invite Mr. Musa.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. And it went thanking to my friends, Salif Abdul, and Manasharu. I'm from Department of Physics, Center for Foundation Study, University. So I'm very honored to be here. Okay, to share some of my teaching experience of poverty. Okay, I'll start with the end product of this project, which is the innovation, which I do some leadership innovations, which is in terms of feasibility, is utilized with economic need. Okay, so let's look at this project. They apply physics in real life. Okay? It's not only demonstrated in class, but it is can be practiced in real life. And then they use all the AI, all the smartphones, okay, to recorded all the activities, and then there is a video editing. And then this is in the hostel. These are the topics: spring and pants, the information of solid. So they relate to the real life. There is a smartphone, there is a class, video things. Then the experience, they go on this so the university, the course, these are the activities. They also designed to show how great the central contact on this system, the negative, the financial. Okay. So they also demonstrate this is hydropower. One of the topics hydropower. And you may imagine hydropower is very big than you know. But these students can demonstrate it in the toilet. Yeah. Can light up the LED. Wow. This is another project. This is one momentum. They go to the computer center. They request to go to the computer center. This one they show. This is about sound. This one about the friction, the area, the pressure, the braking system. This is the authentic video. It is not from the YouTube. They create their own videos. Okay? This is ice. This is the momentum, the conditions. This one they go into the computer center to play. So these are all the concepts. They have learned in class. They learn it with the real life situations. They record it. Okay? So this is about the sounds. So this is all the real video. This is authentic. It is not from the short number, and then this is also this one. Spring. Okay? So I start in the end product. Now I would like to do the flashback. Okay? How we get that product. Okay, this is not a long story. It is quite a little bit within these 8 minutes. So I have why, what motivates us, and the solution. Okay, so let's look at why we have that project. So this is will be our problem statement. Because if you look at this at our foundation level, with these physics, there are lots of math physics equations. Everything is about math, because math is the language of physics. They need to use math. And then this will lead them to word memorization. They memorize the technique, but they do not understand the principle that are underlying the event. Alright? And then, if you look at the assessment part, there are a lot of pen and papers. You want to use it. Because we want to, this is the challenge among the educators leadership. Because we want to transform from the traditional methods to the present method to the alternative, to the real oriented skill. Okay? To have creativity, collaborative, cooperation. Okay? And then, of course, the time constraint. Because if you want to show this in class, you're going to have time. Because we have only 12 weeks to finish 11 chapters, so we miss to explain the wonderful of physics to our students. So then we think that students need to explore that answer. Record, show it in class, share it in the class, you can watch at your free time. So we said we won't bother your class schedule. Okay? So, and then what motivates us? We learn from COVID-19. Everything is impossible can be possible. Do you imagine that you can have the online class? Before this, we need to have face-to-face meeting, we need to attend the meeting face-to-face. Now we can have online. So that motivates us. Things that impossible can be possible. Number 2 is the technology advance. We have AI, we have phone, apps, everything. So this environment will support us. Okay? So why we choose problem-based learning? Because we want to change from the conceptual to the inquiry-based. Inquiry-based, we want to create, foster the critical, creative, collaborative thinking, and so on. So these all are the tools. And if you look at the national academic blueprint, the 13-year span, we are moving forward to digitalize, to collaborative learning, creativity thinking. So we try to support that. And they are digitalized because we want to visualize. Because if you look at our textbook, it is static. Students cannot feel it. So they can feel it by visualizing it. It is around us. Physics is about the phenomena that happen around us. And then, of course, we have the platform. We have the tools. Now comes the leadership. The leadership is important. Okay? Okay, what leadership can do? There are 3 levels. Policy, resource, and personal. Policy, they need to integrate. Integrate this assessment into their cost assessment. Okay? Then, they must have a weightage. Put some weightage. For us, we put 15%. Okay? We also have a practical lab, which is 10%. So all together will be 25%. And then, outcome measure means that we need to do a curriculum review. That is under the policy. The next integration is the resource. When we talk about technology, apps, licensing, we need to infrastructure, networking, and also the hardware, access, the laboratory, all things we need to have the leadership. And personal, like IAB, provide training and so on, incentives and so on. So this is our methodology. This is design, and then if you look at the assessment structure, this is particularly the assessment structure, okay, rubrics and so on. But what I would like to highlight here is the result and the discussion. Students show very positive learning activities, so they enjoy the use of digital tools and real-life application, highlight 11 and engaging video project and collaborative learning for the enhance their understanding, confidence, integrating technology, creativity, and teamwork effectively support for learning experience. So these are the questionnaire that we ask. We have the thematic, we cluster it into these 4 themes, and then we also study the differential statistics, the relations between atom and items. We look at the correlation, and then we test the p-value, the correlation, and also we test the significance, the R values. And then also the positive input, and it is significantly. It is not happen by chance. Okay? So these are the results. And then we also have the open-ended question, the answer. Okay? So the respond from this. So basically they are talking about the technical. That's why the leadership is important. The technical part. Okay? And then these are the conclusion for this: empower educators through training, better digital infrastructure, enhance students' competency, foster collaborative and balanced learning. And then leadership plays very important role, support training, institutional commitment. And then last, it is not about group pedagogy. So we can have the teachers, but for time teachers is the leadership. Okay? Here I am going to detail our mission and vision. Okay, thank you very much. At this moment, the project is only for physics. We don't, because that will be the future studies. Because we plan for this, it depends. For mathematics, I don't, it depends on the creativity of the students, of the teachers and the students. Some teachers of the subject cannot be just to say, oh, you want to use a smartphone for mathematics. It depends on the creativity of the teachers, okay, and the students. But for my subject, because this is not the nature, that happens around so I take the advantage of my subject, and then I take the advantage of the smartphone, the tools, the apps that we have to use it.
You say that mathematics is really basic, right? So it is.
Oh, so what I mean by the mathematics is because if you look at pen and papers, our question is more on mathematics. Maybe
your idea can make the mathematics
Yeah. In the future, it's good. Thank you for a good lecture.
Any more questions? Okay, now give a round of applause for Mr. Nissan. The next presenter is Dr. British James Sultan.
A very good morning to everyone. Thank you for coming to this event, and I hope I can actually present the best possible for all of you. Okay, looking at ICELAM, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Bridget. Okay, these are my team members from Institut Baki, from IABCGH, and then Enstek from So this is actually a case done in the SME side as a different business 61. And then the title itself is the title dissecting and see if we can explain in operation. Operation fears, hopefully I'm in it. Because the next that was my doctor. And the operation theater I can't do it. So dissecting what's diagnosis? What are we fixing over here? And then diagnosis. Right, so here we are actually dissecting very fast, it's only at 10 minutes. We are dissecting different types of data for the students who are weak in one subject, which is history. Now, a lot of schools, history is the kids. Because it's essentially a compulsory subject of the past in order to get kids to get SPM. Right? So here, these students, even though it's prestigious, these students should be some problem, okay? Passing learning subject, right? So here, we learn actually dissect different types of data available for the students, from the students, so that we can actually diagnose best learning strategies for the learning methods, for the methods in this research. Okay, make it faster. And then in order for me to explain it further, all this will be in one particular framework that have been created. Okay? Because that particular framework is essentially going to create a ticket. Just like what you have mentioned. A ticket, but we avoid operating ticket. Ticket over data. Right. But I'm not going to talk about ticket yet because it's going to be another session. Because we have 10 minutes. Okay? Right. Always 10 minutes. Right. So here, okay, before we go on to the framework, right? We need data because this framework is actually data created, which is data for this particular framework. Okay. We need data, right? So I need to change my strategy a little bit. So we can't go straight to the methodology. We need data. Where are the data coming from? from dynamic event capturing, the students that we are focusing on, those who are weak in the history subject, the pattern identification, the learning, okay, the learning strategy, learning behavior analysis, that is observation, just like what you have done to your friend just now, observation, conversational interview, teacher perspective, okay, what do they think about your students? Counselor insights, very important, because to see what's inside their heart. They are learning, are they really learning? They are not learning, why are they are not learning? Because some problem at home or something like that, right? Principal observation as well, conversational interview. This one should be principal, conversation, it's not observation, conversation, yeah? Right, document analysis, what kind of document we are collecting the data from? Okay, their assessment records. Which part, okay, which part of the history subject they have a problem in, okay? Performance tracking, track the performance in all types of subjects, okay? Is it only history that they are weighting or other subjects as well? Any part of the subject, okay, any part of it which has relation to the history subject. You want to know that, so tracking all that. Intervention documentation. So a lot of things, tedious work. You look at my face, you know, okay, right? But all this data we need to analyze. Analyze, okay, using this. We need to analyze, prepare the data, explore the data, reduce the data, because whatever we are creating, the framework, it is actually data-driven. We do not want to create a framework which is baseless, all right? So from here, after the analysis and all that, we try to tease out the knowledge claims, the construct that we can build the framework. This is the framework, right? We want to create this framework because we want to create the storyboard for our ticket pembentukan, our operative ticket, right? Okay, here we are actually creating this framework based on the conceptual framework, based on the tenets of any model. Okay, the tenets and the any model web analysis, we have designing, we have development, we have implementation, and we have evaluation. Why the any model? Because just now when we did the evaluation, when we did the analysis, we find out whatever that we found out, okay, this model can support us to build up the framework. Let's look at the framework. Right. Here, this is the main tenets, okay? Analysis, data compilation phase, okay? What kind of data that we have compiled? We have compiled here, look at that, right? Here, we can actually see why we put it in the middle. On top is actually the construction part, okay? The construction part. The below is actually the evaluation part. Construction without evaluation, it won't be complete, right? We have construct something, we have to ensure that, okay? We have to ensure that the particular ticket or the particular framework is workable. So we must have this part ready for everybody. Analysis here, from the data, we discovered that there are two types of data. Yes, exterior data from the 4 settings. Physical settings, human settings, interactional settings, program settings. All this we have to find out. Tedious, but worth it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, worth it. Because we are going to help the students to perform. Especially for the leader to know what's best for their weak students. Next, the interior data. Data from their classroom assessment, summative assessment, psychometric data, diagnostic tests, health and mental data. I know, okay, right. roles in it, right? All right, I need to run. Okay, from the data and then the design, the meta-analysis phase, where we go deeper into the data, and then we find out, oh, these are the things that we have to integrate in the ticket to help the students, so that we find out more about that. Then we have this one is the content, and then this one is the general layout of the ticket. Later on, ladies and gentlemen, we'll show you the ticket, but not in this platform, right? The layout, the front page, the operational section there, the tracking part, the methods part, and all that. Then finally, aligning the data generated from the item in here, and then put it into practice, development, and also implementation, because we want to know, we want to collect useful data from the students using all this construct, so that we know what's best for them to learn later on. We have that information. After that, we try it out, but along the way, we try to improve the whole construct, and then here, the evaluation, and this is the final findings for our research. This is the storyboard, all right? So here, the implementation impact, early engagement, because we are afraid of, we would like to see, okay, those students who are at risk of failing, right? Personalized learning profile. With those data, we can personalize the intervention, okay? And then hope, we would learn, okay, by having this particular framework, help the students to boost their morale, so that they can continue their pursuit to higher education. All right, so I think that's about it. These are all the key achievements that we can actually consider for our future based on the framework. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope this is quite answering.
Everyone understand perfectly.
Perfect. All right, cool. Just to let you know, the framework is the storyboard for my ticket, and then this ticket has been established, and then we went for a competition, and we managed to get international competition. Managed to get a silver. Not that solid yet, because we're still building it now. Right? Hopefully next year we are able to refine the ticket, and then we'll get a gold. Yes.
Our next presenter is Dr. Nur Asia Hassan.
Okay, my name is Nur Asia Hassan from University Selangor, and it will be my pleasure to actually present on the title, The Influence of Value-Driven LCLs on Educators' Attitudes and Professional Learning in Empowering Assessment Practices. Okay, along with person that actually contribute is actually Professor Dr. Nur Hasnida, Emil Yaman, Rashman Zainatu, Nazira. So, okay, when we talk about the assessment practice, we know that assessment practice is actually a key driven for the educational transformations, right? Okay, and it's actually a very guiding instructions and improving students' learning outcome. So, but then it is very important to have an effective assessment practice, as we need to refine our teaching strategies and also know students' learning outcomes or results. So, but then this success of assessment reforms depends largely on the educators' perceptions, design choice, and also implementation strategies. Okay, along this, despite all this benefit of assessment practices, including summative and formative, right? But many educators still remain resistant to change, which resulting in weak adoptions of implementations, good or empowering assessment practices. Even in Malaysia, okay, the assessment practices in higher education still remain limited, even though decades of what we call institutional promotions and policies initiatives to it. Okay, so as you can see, there are certain aspects which still align the educational transformations and align Malaysia's higher education as well, including the I believe. Okay, it is important to actually understand what the factors could actually determine the assessment, the efficiency of the practices towards the educators. So, grounded by Bandura's social cognitive, in which Bandura mentions, the theory mentions that there are the reciprocals of a relationship between the contextual, personal factors and also the behavior changes towards the educators. So, based on that, Bandura's social cognitive theory, we actually form a conceptual framework which we make it a learning-centered leadership as a key for the significantly influence assessment practice, professional development or learning, and also the attitude of the educators. Okay. Alright, so this is purely quantitative analysis in which the hypothesis is being developed based on the previous studies. So basically, if you look here, most of the previous study, sorry about that, lama nervous pula because we have a very research, okay, there are significant influence of learning-centered leaderships towards the attitude and assessment practice as well as the professional learning, especially on the professional learning. That's why I am eager to know what are the things that learning-centered leadership can do to enhance the assessment practices. Okay, here the most important I believe is actually on the definitions. So the definition, okay, perhaps the rest of professional learning, the attitude, the assessment practice, you may already know, but learning-centered leadership, because based on Cohen, there are about 350 leadership styles. So this is one of them. Okay, the learning-centered leadership. Maybe some of you maybe not so familiar about it, but learning-centered leadership or LCL, some people. Okay, learning-centered leadership is actually emerged from the integrations of transformations leadership and also from the instructional leadership, which I believe it is very interesting to look at upon it. Okay, and the main dimension is supposed to be have 4, but at the end of the EFA we only got 3 lah. Okay, so these are the methodology that I use for this research, in which the actual study we are taking from 400 lecturers from private and public universities using the multi-stage sampling. Okay, and we are using solely on the close-ended questionnaire, which the 10-point interval scale with 5 sections: demographic, attitude, professional learning, learning style leadership, as well as okay, the data is actually cross-sectional one time using the surveys and physical, and also the data analysis are using the IBM SPSS 26 and also SAM almost 24. Okay, so these are the findings. First thing, I would like to talk about the demographic. Okay, as I mentioned, the participants or the respondents is actually equally come from the both universities, and of course 2/3 of the respondents is actually female and 1/3 is male. It's normal in any education institution, right? Okay, and then the most important part is here, the formal education training. 2/3 of the lecturers do not have the formal education training as teachers, so they might have, you know, a different kinds of understanding in assessment practice as well. Okay, so the backgrounds of academic, of course, they are mostly, majority of them has masters and PhD, and by the good thing is here, they have more than 5 years of experience. So if we look back, all the demographics here is basically represent well the skills of populations of the lecturers. And first thing is about the descriptive analysis next. Okay, so you can see here all the construct, especially on the attitude. Okay, attitude towards the profession, the attitude towards the assessment practice shows the strongest performance, meaning that they have a very high rate, and professional learning also scored strongly, high rate as well as assessment practice. But the LCL is actually, the role model is only moderate, in which it has the improvement room for the to be done. Okay, so next we are looking at the construct validity. Of course, when we want to do the inference, to answer the hypothesis, it's not enough with the descriptive analysis, so we need to go for the inference, which I use the structured equation modeling. But of course, we need to do the validity and reliability of the models here. So what I can see here, all the validity and reliability are very robust, okay, and it fit well. Then only I go for the hypothesis testing, in which here is the structure of model. Okay, so basically a few key findings that I could mention here, that professional learning attitude have the positive significant influence toward the assessment practice, but of course the attitude have also the professional positive significant influence equals an LCL and also to the attitude and professional learning. The one that I would like to mention is only the LCLs do not have a significant value, meaning that does not give any impact to the assessment practice of the lecturers. Okay, so it matters here. Why? But sorry, I go back here. It matters because even though it is not impactful, but that attitude and professional learning is very important in determining the assessment practice of the lecturers. So it is better kind of learning centered leadership as well. So as a conclusion, I would say that value-driven learning centered leadership, even though it is not directly influence assessment practice, but it could actually strengthen the assessment practice by strengthening the attitude and also the professional learning of the lecturers or the educators. Okay, but of course, it has limitations to any of the research, right? So this limitation solely relies on the self-report data from the lecturers and also using the higher education lecturers, educators only. So what we can do in the future, maybe we do the quantitative and also look for the other samples from different population as well. Okay, thank you very much for your kind attentions. Thank you.
Just the very rational when you co-vary design.
Sorry?
When you co-vary admin and design. You have co-variance, right?
Co-variance?
Yeah. In the design and administration. And actually,
Yeah.
A1 and A2. Is there any rationale for that? You co-vary the design and administration.
Oh, because if I don't do that, maybe the data will not be that big. But it's only a minor, so it is acceptable. And it doesn't go, it doesn't go more, it can be their own sub-constructs, but it cannot go beyond that. If it is beyond that, then might be something wrong with the measurements error.
So you're using a summative score, right?
So,
Means that it is a many items, right? How many items overall?
about 59, something like that. Because this is actually the second order. Because here, the design is actually have about 6 to 7 parts. So in order to make it very nice structure, so we make it as a second order, so it looks not, yes, it looks simple and not complicated. Because complicated can be, sometimes mental health. So I do hope that, especially the leaders, okay, the administrators, looking back at the, can develop, professional development for the leaders, okay, to have more visuals, articulations, right, visions, articulations, and be the role model for the assessment practice as well, and also giving the structured support for the educators. Orang kata pimpinan Melayu teladan in other words, right? Okay. So,
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Noor. Our next presenter is Dr. Mohana Ramurubia.
Very good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Mohana. I'm an English language teacher from SMK Perempuan Methodist Ipoh. So today, the topic of my presentation will be rethinking assessment, evaluating the use of authentic tasks for speaking and writing in ESL classrooms. So if you see, what I'm going to share with you today is a practice that I have been doing for quite some time, which has been turned into a research. Now, first of all, what's the problem in a general English language classroom? One, students face difficulty in speaking and writing skills. Two, lack of ability to communicate effectively. And third, lack of assessment through authentic tasks. Now, what happened is, let me just give you a background of our classroom practices. Most of us, the English language teachers, what we do is when we do speaking practices, we just rely on textbook. Now, what happens when you do a speaking practice, basically rely on textbook and you want to practice it in real life situation. Let me just give you an example. Let's say you practice through your textbook. In your textbook, you just say, how are you? You answer back, I am fine. And then you ask back another question, so how's your parents at home? That is a template that's good. But in real life situation, imagine there is a conversation, you ask your friend, how are you? And your friend says, not well, my mother just passed away. Do you ask back, how's your mother? So that is the problem when you don't have authentic assessment in classroom. So that is why I explore this authentic assessment in my classroom. And I have two research questions here. One, how far do authentic tasks helps in developing and speaking skills of low proficiency of Form 4 ESL students? And to what extent do authentic tasks affect the writing performance of low proficiency Form 4 ESL students? So if you see, in this study, I look into two skills, which is writing and speaking, which goes along very well with one another as a complementary, as a main skill and complementary skill. Now, what is authentic task? So an authentic task is a real-world meaningful activity that requires learners to use language in ways that mirror how English is used outside classroom. Now, the real purpose, why do we want to learn English language? First of all, we want to learn English language because we want to communicate when we go outside the classroom. We want to communicate when we travel. We want to write emails. We want to write resumes. We want to go for job interviews and answer interviews in English. These are the purpose we learn English. We don't learn English just for just for learning a subject. It is for our real life use. That is why authentic assessment, authentic task is very important. That goes beyond textbook, where authentic tasks need to use together with the textbook. Now, so authentic tasks usually have real purpose and have audience. It integrates skills and requires higher order thinking skills, as well as produces tangible outcome, which is all required in our curriculum. Next, now example of authentic tasks in ELT. So what are the authentic tasks that you can do in ELT? One, conducting interview with tourists and presenting findings about Malaysian culture. Example, writing a blog post to raise awareness about environmental issues. These are a few examples of how authentic assessment can be done. Now, my study is a quasi-experimental design-based method approach, which involves pre- and post-tests and involves about 30 Form 4 students from a Malaysian secondary school, which is my own school. Okay, the study spanned about 8 weeks and was integrated into the existing English language curriculum, which is our textbook and DSKP as well as the syllabus. So it was integrated, and the authentic task was developed based on what they learned in the textbook. Now, why 8 weeks? Because it is a long process. You can't see the development in a very short period of time. Now, instruments used in this study, so I have several instruments. Quantitative instruments were the speaking rubric where we use in the public examination, and the writing rubric, which was modified a little to suit the classroom need. And also the qualitative instruments were the observation checklist, students' weekly reflective journal, and the teacher's notes or the researcher's notes, which I wrote from time to time when I see my progress in the classroom or activities that was done. Next, the data collection processes involve 3 phases. One is pre-assessment phase, another one is intervention phase, and another one is post-assessment phase. Now, the pre-assessment phase where students completed a baseline speaking and writing task using an assessment rubric. Then the intervention phase is where the authentic tasks take place in such as role plays, interviews, collaborative projects, and functional writing tasks, which I will share with you at the end of this presentation. And then the post-assessment, at the end of the intervention, students completed a final speaking test and writing task assessed with the same rubrics as the pre-assessment to show their progress. Now, so these are the data analysis for the speaking skills. So if you see from the pre-test to the post-test was done after 8 weeks of the intervention. So the mean score has shown an significant improvement in all the 4 speaking criteria, which is fluency, accuracy, organization, and interaction. And the score improvement is over 61, 53, 60, and 56%. Okay, overall, yeah, from the pre-test to the post-test, and this is for the speaking skills. And for the writing skills, also shows significant improvement from the pre-test, where the minimum score was like between 1 and 2, and for the post-test it went between above 2, which is 3.0 from 3.2, which also show improvement among the students. Now, the quantitative the findings of this study is found that students have improved in their writing skills. Students show substantial gains in overall writing performance in terms of using vocabulary, task fulfillment, and also organization. As well as there was a statistical validation where paired sample t-tests were conducted for both speaking and writing scores. Result shows statistically significant differences between pre-test and post-test. And And also the qualitative finding increased confidence in speaking. Early session students were hesitant, used fragmented sentences and avoided eye contact when they spoke. By week 4, more students volunteered to participate without prompting. And the reflective journals showed that students were not nervous anymore, they were actually talking better, and they could interact with someone because we did not put any constraint for them to do the speaking task. Okay, and from the teacher field notes, okay, quieter learners became more active and expressive. Now, okay, and there were also improved collaboration, and there were awareness of real life relevance. Okay, where learners recognized that tasks like writing reports, emails, and blogs had real world value. Journal reflection, when, for example, when I wrote the blog, I felt it's something people really read. Okay, it made me want to do better. This is from the reflection journal. Okay, now, so overall conclusion, authentic assessment led to significant improvement in both speaking and writing skills. Measurable gains in fluency, accuracy, organization, and task fulfillment. And there was also growth in confidence and motivation among students. Overall, these results demonstrate that authentic tasks can actually help in develop students' proficiency in reading and writing. Now, these are few examples of authentic tasks. Sorry, I can't play the video because I accidentally sang the PDF. So this is an example of a video. Students are having a conversation, sharing just a basic things that they do in the house. Okay, this is a real project of an authentic task where students have to play the role of editor, a journalist, a writer, and so on to come up with a magazine. So this is our monthly magazine, okay, which stems from our authentic task. And in this magazine also we have QR codes where students carry out the interview with the teachers. Okay, interview with the teachers, which is actually like, generally students don't go and speak to the teacher and ask teacher, how are you? Can I talk to you about something? And when you do an authentic task like this, it helps the students to go and approach teacher. They know how to go and talk to somebody, ask questions to somebody who is at a higher rank. Okay, how many of us, when you see a prime minister, you are very hesitant to go and talk to them? You do not know how to start the conversation, isn't it? This is where the authentic test help the students to go and speak to someone with a higher authority in a proper manner. So that's how authentic tasks help students to develop the English language, along with it a lot of other things that is required in real life. Okay, and this is the students are selling their projects in English language. Some of them, they have what they call that travel agency, selling books, selling their products all in English. Okay, and it was done as one of our project-based learning activities. Okay, that is all. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, we have our last presenter. I would like to invite Sabto Sugiharto Sudarto. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, thank you for Institut Baki to hold this ICELAM board. I joined with 3 ICELAM, so I just missed the first one. Okay, I'm Sabto from Indonesia and also from my colleague here, Sister Susi. And if I say this, you respond like this, salam. Okay? Okay. Salam Pramuka. Salam. Okay, this is a boy scouting. Scouting. Okay, so this is our title. So we would like to appreciate our Pramuka. That's also in Malaysia, maybe we call it pemakap. Okay, so we have Lord Baden Powell and also Sri Sultan Hamengkubuwono in Indonesia as the founding fathers of Pramuka or Scouting movement in Indonesia. Okay, so the evolution of Scouting policy, that's from the beginning. Actually, in the beginning, from this one, our grandparents, Pramuka or Makakap is showing the nationalism of our country. And since the beginning of our freedom, so we start this movement. And then it is an obligation for all of us to join with this Pramuka. But during last period of government change a bit, not obligation anymore, not mandatory. This one because of flexibility and personalized learning. That's the reason. Okay, but we want to see, we want to evaluate this changing of policy. Okay, so why this research matter? Because we have the implementation gap, evaluation gap, and policy relevance. So we can see that how it is affect the school, especially in our case is high school from grade 10 to 12. Okay, and then this is the effective evaluation framework. We have the level 1 reaction, level 2 learning, level 3 behavior, and level 4 the results. So it's affect all of these, especially the students. Okay, this is how we conduct the research, yeah, by directly interviewing and seeing the implementation of Pramuka program at school. Yeah, by this just in one school in SMA is high school, senior high school in Bogor City. Okay, and then we interview not only the principal and vice principal, but also the students. And we see, and then we want to know about the progress of the Pramuka program. Okay, so the methodology, qualitative approach, in-depth interview, direct observation, and documentation study. So we can see that by doing the triangulation across sources, we can have the the relationship among all, especially about the management of this extracurricular program. Okay, and then this is the specific student reaction. Yeah, they show us about how, although it is not mandatory for them, but they join with this program willingly. Yeah, they want to take progress. Yeah, because it also affects their continue to study for the next level for university. Because some universities in Indonesia, they also have the opportunity to join with the university from this route, yeah, from scouting program. If they are active, if they were active during their high school, and then they will be entered this university without test. Okay, and then the result 2, the substantial knowledge and skill gains. Yeah. So because Pramuka or Boy Scouting has skills, yeah, pioneering skills, and also the values internalization, that's 100%. Yeah, we can see that they are not only memorizing all the lessons learned by these Pramuka, but also all of these effects. And then behavioral transformation and action. Yeah, this is toward the students. Yeah, we meet with the students and we are very amazed, yeah, with their activists. Yeah, they are very students with determination in their study, and then they can collaborate with all friends. Yeah, so this is a very prospective for future leaders. Yeah, from Boy Scouting program. And then level 4, the result, institutional impact and recognition. Yeah, we have this, although it is not mandatory at the time, we have 7 Garuda Scouts. Garuda Scout is the highest level of scouting program in Indonesia. This is the appreciation from the government. Yeah, so they have 7 students who get this. Yeah, this is a very amazing program. And then these 7, they can continue to university without test in some universities in Indonesia. They have a privilege because of this Garuda Scout. Competition wins. Yeah, we have 2 in the year, and then 41 plus program years, sustained program excellence in establishment in 1983 from Ford and School. They are consistently doing this program. And then the comprehensive effectiveness summary, we have the key finding for reaction, learning, behavior, and result. From the very simple one like discipline, self-discipline, the punctuality, like that for the students. And then from policy to impact, from the policy from the government until the implementation at school. Alhamdulillah now Pramuka with this new government, our Mr. President, Mr. Prabowo, has instructed the Ministry of Education to make Pramuka movement as an obligation, as a mandatory again, especially for high school. So only in one period there is no obligation for that. So we can see this the overcome the policy to impact framework. Okay, and then challenges and opportunities for enhancement because we have the advanced skill development, sustained engagement, program sustainability, and measurement limitation. Especially with our data collection limited time, maybe we cannot fully capture. Maybe it can be more than that, more students who are willing to join this Pramuka intensively. Okay, and then recommendation for practice and policy, we have for school leaders especially. So provide continuous training in advanced scouting competencies, especially for the teachers. Because teachers need to be supported, to be an active extracurricular program in this scouting program. Ensure adequate facilities and consistent scheduling. Strengthen leader commitment through recognition program. And then for educators, we have to adopt differentiated instruction for varied skills levels. Integrate scout values across curricular activities. And then document behavioral changes systematically. So they can see how this change make impact for our students. And then last, I think Ms. Susi, you have anything to comment for this conclusion?
Yes, everyone. Actually, I'm a companion of Mr. Sato. Here from Indonesia, we would like to give an example. We really hope that this can be one of the activities that some schools in the world can also conduct, because we believe that this activity can develop the student's character, which is actually right now, which is on crisis in the world. So we really hope that with simple activities like this, the students will develop their characters and personalities too. And we really hope that the activities can help them survive in the world, because nowadays most students, most children, they usually deal with gadgets every day. With the scouting activities, we really hope that they have experiences in their lives with nature, of course. And that is why we would like to present this to you all here.
Yes. And then they can get their potential, then they can avoid any negative behavior, like for example bully, because their energy is challenged by this scouting program. So thank you very much for your attention.
No questions. So thank you very much. So we come to the end. I would like to invite Tuan Haji Rahmi to present the certificate score of the presenters. We invite Dr. Tajul Shikit. Dr. Siva Ravindaran. Mr. Muhammad Ashraf Abdullah. Mr. Muzamil Azmi. Dr. Bridget Lim. Dr. Nur Arsyad Hassan. Dr. Muhammad Rahman Rubia. And Sabtu Sudiharto Thank you to the presenters, the audience, and also the evaluators. Yes. What? Evaluation, yes. The evaluation, they will deliberate during the rest hours, and then the result will be announced during the closing. Yes. Yes. So during the closing, the result of best presenter will be announced.